This is just a quick P&L statement on a basic session. Now, our overhead, I've broken down into 1/30th because, obviously, it's the 30 days in a basic month. I'm talking about not only our rent, I'm talking about insurance, I'm talking about the power bill. We're only looking at $260 per day, which is really great to have ourselves a space that's about 4,400 square feet, of which we use about 3,600 square feet. Now, this place, the rental studio, well, it's not really a rental studio, the meetup.com studio, they get the benefit, well, they get a couple benefits. They get the benefit of, one, having a named photographer. It's in the studio, and it's got his name on the door. That's a big deal for them. 2, we've got all this terrific equipment that's inside there. It's 3. 4, they get to see all the pictures, the photos that come on in there, and seeing all those beautiful frame prints like you saw Patty had there. That's a big deal. Well, they've got it so they have to walk through that entire first floor and then go on downstairs, and that's where they have their teaching studio. Well, as they go on down the stairs, they go through my printing lab. Well, my printing lab is all controlled lighting, right? We've got all daylight controlled fluorescent tubes overhead pointed up at the ceiling with paint that's got neutral colored on it. Our dark gray wall has all been calibrated so it's neutral. The gray wall on the other side, that's light. I mean, we're talking this is really the real deal, right? Okay. Our marketing is also factored into here, and our marketing is our biggest single piece that we have. And our marketing, when we bust it down into 1/30th chunk, we're looking at $414 a day to spend on marketing. That's true. When we take a look at the advertising that we do, and when we take a look at the discounts that we offer, apparently when we do a Groupon ad, we do a Yelp promo, we do whatever promo, we do a group promo with a handful of other different businesses, where we get together with a restaurant, we get together with a framing company, we get together with even a carpet store. Everybody offers a discount if you buy in 1 or 2 of those pieces. It's all working out. There's tons of ways for us to get our message out there, right? Then, when we take a look at some other expenses, the pickups, so we got a snow plow. Sometimes I'll bring in my nephew, for instance, to do some painting and moving and fixing and other stuff. Basically, we're looking at $864 per day. Now, that's basically every day. You know, the overhead is going to change, of course, on days where we don't have shoots, for instance, right? We don't have anybody in there, but that means that's a pretty heavy-duty number. So we know that every day we're fighting up on that. Next, sales. We take a look at session breakdowns. Now, this is on a non-holiday day. Question, sir?
Quick question before we move from the top to the sales.
Sure.
Where does all the hybrid, paying Dan, all the buying the templates and all that fit into those first 3 numbers?
Yeah, those are going to fit inside to just my basic overhead because I've got monthly payment fees. For instance, when you talk about paying Dan, Dan gets paid because we have a subscription, right? We have a subscription to Zenfolio, and we pay the annual version. We have a subscription to my e-card. We have a subscription to my e-template. When we put all those together, because I love buying things in just subscriptions so that I can get the cheapest possible rate possible, then I'm going to just put it into my overhead because it is my overhead, right? My eCard.pro is my overhead. A great question, by the way, too. Yeah, great question, too. The only thing that's not covered in this is when we have to buy cameras and extra equipment. And one of the reasons that I don't put that in there is that I do get a lot of the stuff that I don't have to pay for. It's kind of part of being me. I get to test it. If I use it in a program, I don't have to pay for it. That's not a part of this program whatsoever, not at all. However, it's part of what it is. It's part of being me, right? But excellent question. When we get into sales, we're talking about non-seasonal sales. Let's not talk about Christmas time. Christmas time is off the hook. When we have a great day at Christmas, in fact, Louis and Patty had their first $10,000 weekend. I couldn't believe it. I was so proud of them. How do you do that? Oh, and it was so good. They were so filled with cheer, right? But you should have seen them, man, by about 6 o'clock on Sunday when they were leaving to head home. They're going, I don't believe that actually happened, right? They went through a Mike Tyson weekend. So a session that comes through with a discount, right? Say we go to one of our events, and it's one of those nice black tie events, and they end up buying one of our $770 or $1,150 sessions, and then they get it for a deal. They get it for $440, right? That's common. That happens a lot. So we'll sell a session at a discount, and then next session's going to come on in, and we're going to sell, that's a typical range for sales. Depending on what's going on, of course. It does depend on the time of year. In Chicago, once it starts to warm up like it is now, it's not so much the sales that dip down, it's just the volume of calls dip down. The amount of sales, amount of sessions that are actually popping into the book right now are going low, and that's just the year, the type of the year. Next, you'll see that session number 2 here, I've got in at a typical one, $1,330. And what I did, Louis, is I used 2 weeks ago, I used we had that strong weekend that was pretty regular, right? Pretty regular. We did have one issue where a print got damaged and ended up having to be sent back out to be replaced, but there's no charge for that, by the way. So you could see some session shots, $1,300, $1,400, $1,600. Total is $5,610. So a typical, when we're talking about a Saturday, and this is a Saturday session, looks like this. Now, we'll typically work on, well, Monday is a day off. Monday is a day where Patty is the only one that's actually generating a revenue, right? I've got to have my other company. There's 2 companies that we work off of. One is this portrait session, and the other one is the Crockett Co. Technologies, where I'm actually doing my consulting work. And we've got a couple of great big projects that we're doing there too. Those, unfortunately, don't have a whole bunch to do with Patty. Those do get a lot of work to do with Louie, and we get to keep Louie nice and busy, right? Which is really great about that. Then next, when we flip that little bad boy around, and we'll take a look at what happens, you'll see that on a Saturday, we're going to be able to come away with $4,746. I'm sorry, $4,746.00. Now, how much of that is hybrid? How much of that is printed product? Well, as of now, we're looking at just under 20% is hybrid. When we look at it at a quarterly basis, right? And that's what we have to look at. Because there are days when we've got Tuesdays and Wednesdays and Thursdays that are nothing but e-card jobs. And there are no printed card jobs. Those days are just as busy as the other ones. They're a little easier to do maybe because we don't have to sell anything. The sales part is already done. We take the same amount of time. We literally make the same amount of money that keeps popping through because on one day we can have, even though we do work on a 1-hour basis, we've got 2 sets going at the same time. So when we're talking about shooting e-cards and we've got, say Patty pulls in a group of 20 salespeople and we ask them and say, look, can we get you guys in 3 days? That'd be great. And come on in, here's how it's going to work. We're going to have 2 sets run at the same time. They're far enough apart that audio-wise, we don't hear any different apart. And we're able to do a $4,000 or $5,000 a day. That's where we want to go. So, are we making $1 million? No, no. Do we have the potential to make $1 million? Well, maybe. I can see us having 4, 5, 6 bays running on here. I could see us having 2 or 3 locations. So is this the magic super syrup to get you to the promised gazillionaire land? I don't think so. Is it a great target to aim for, particularly if you're a young person and you want to be a photographer? I do think it's a good spot to aim for. And that's where we're at. Where we're going beyond this, nobody knows for sure. Here's what I do know. I do know those companies that are hiring us to do these souvenir photos. Those are going to help us, right? Those companies that instead of the souvenir photo pictures, that they want souvenir e-products. Those are big deals. Those are the ones that are going to want us to drive more people into the portrait photographer for those e-products.